Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Too Full to Stack. I'm your host, Nick Taylor. I always say host, but when there's no guest, are you? I guess you're still the host, I guess. I don't know. It's just me. It's just me. Anyways, thanks everybody for joining today. So what we're going to be digging into today is building a browser extension. And this is something that probably most of you use every day. Uh, Hopefully everybody's using a password manager. I mean, we're not completely passwordless yet, so password manager is definitely a great example of that. But there's all kinds of other ones, and they can do all kinds of things. And so that's pretty much what we're gonna dig into here. And all right. I'm just reading StreamYard here. It says can't post comments to some destinations. I think that's mainly because I don't think I can post to LinkedIn or something. But anyways, let's switch over to code view here or share my screen. Just gonna zoom in here. And so I guess some context here. So hey, how's it going, Aaron? Thanks for joining. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this link in the chat. All right. And no, I did not mean to drop a StreamYard link. Why did that go in? Oh man. Anyways, you wouldn't have access anyways. There we go. Let's try that again. Okay. It's going not great. Cool. Let me just go drop this on here. So this is the Chrome docs for getting started with writing extensions. And the first thing that somebody might say is, well, what about Firefox? What about Safari? So yes, they all have browser extensions as well. So I guess a few things. So like Firefox, I'm not as familiar with Apple, but if we talk about Firefox for a second here, uh, not now, but like back in the day, Firefox building an extension was different, uh, and like had different APIs than the Chrome APIs for building a browser extension. And essentially, what happened over time is I think, and I'm just guessing here, so like anybody that's worked at Mozilla on browser extensions, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at one point they just kind of gave up and said, let's adopt pretty much the same API as the Chrome API for building browser extensions. And all that to say, uh, pretty much nowadays when you build an extension, you'll probably end up building it for Chrome or Chromium based browsers first, but it should work most of the time in Firefox. Sometimes there's differences. There's as we go through the breakdown of what makes an extension, I can talk about some differences maybe. But for the most part, it should work, and it's all web tech. So like your JavaScript, your CSS, and then kind of HTML you have that should be fine. In terms of Apple, you can definitely build browser extensions for them as well. Um, I've never built one for Safari or WebKit. It's a little different in the sense that I'm not positive about the APIs. It might be similar to the Chromium ones, but one big difference is you have to sign it and like there's a whole rigmarole, kind of like when you deploy an iOS app to the App Store. You have to do a similar thing for browser extensions for I think it's mainly Safari. And WebKit, I can't say for sure. Um, but one cool thing about Safari browser extensions is they actually work on mobile as well. And this is the little side tangent, but like I, I've I have an iPhone, and on iPhones, it's all like the same web browser rendering engine, even if you're using Chrome or Safari or Firefox. That's probably changing, but basically the cool I basically use Safari on my phone all the time now, and the main reason is the browser extensions, and it's because of one password, and it just integrates well. So I just use it all the time, and I think it's a pretty great browser on my phone, anyways. But when it comes to using them like in desktop. Again, I'm not familiar with that whole process. I used to work at McAfee building a password browser extension, similar to like 1Password or LastPass, and I wasn't in charge of deployments or working on deployments. I was just like working on the actual product. So like the whole flow for deploying to like the Chrome Web Store, Firefox, and Apple, that was kind of out of my wheelhouse. Um, on my own, though, I have deployed to the Firefox extensions. I don't know if it's called store or site, but and same for the Chrome Web Store. And just another thing to mention is so like right now I'm in the Arc browser here, which is my favorite browser as of late. It's a Chromium based browser. A lot of browsers, I'd say, I don't know the percentages, but pretty much everything is a Chromium based browser now, aside from Firefox and like even Arc. It's using Swift and some other stuff in there, but under the hood, it's using the Chromium browser. So I think you really just have those three types of rendering engines that you need to build for. Maybe that changes in the future, but anyways, all that to say is uh, getting started here with the docs. I'll just take this off the Jumbotron. I know Brian Rinaldi's not here today, I don't think, but he always makes me laugh because he's like, Nick, you still have the link in the Jumbotron. So getting better with StreamYard. All right, so this really is a great primer if you go to that link I shared. Um, Basically on what are extensions, how are they built, and what they can do. And there's basically, and we'll dig into these. I'll zoom in a bit more here. Zooming in the wrong browser. I don't need to zoom into. Okay, there we go. So that should be good enough size here. So there's a few things here, and some of these I actually haven't worked with yet. These are newer things, maybe, but essentially, you have a manifest, and this is what tells you about the project. So, like for example, here it's telling you the manifest version. That's something we can talk about briefly. The name of your project, the version of the browser extension, a description, icons, and there's other stuff as well. We'll get into all that. We don't need to go into the weeds right now, but think of that as like this is your just definition of all the things that go into this browser extension. Um, Not going to really touch on toolbar, action, and side panel today, but they're just different areas. So, like in the toolbar, when you click on the extension, you could do something if you want. It's not that it's more advanced. It's just I just want to scope this down so we can kind of build something out here. There's also UI in the browser's side panel. Probably won't touch on that as well today, but want to focus on content, scripts, and service workers. So if you've ever used a browser extension, so let's go to, let's see, a login or something. Um, well, I'm trying to think where we could go right now. I don't really want to log into anything, but if I open up an incognito window, so let's just go to GitHub. And it seeing the GitHub homepage is something I rarely see, but anyways, so if you go to sign in here, you're gonna see here. I'll zoom in, but when I click in here, I'm using 1Password, and so you have this little widget there in the UI that says unlock 1Password. I'm not gonna do that right now, but all I want to mention is this is what the browser extension is doing. It's allowed the permissions vary, but basically, when you render a page, you can say like, in my particular, hey, how's it going, Idris? Good to see you. Um, Essentially, it allows you to enhance a page or add things to it. So, like, for example, here we're just adding this button to unlock 1Password, and then you can start using the password manager. So the browser extension allows you to add HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to the page. And these things act as if they're actually part of the web page. So they do influence what happens on the page. You are the guests. Okay, perfect. So uh, yeah, so that's just the first thing I wanted to mention, and so you can literally do anything here, and I can show you like let's close this here. Where was it? Yeah. So if we go to GitHub here, so I'm gonna zoom in here. This is my profile page. But you're gonna see there's this. I work at a place called Open Source, and we have a browser extension. And you can see here, this is something we injected. This view on open source button, and what that's our browser extension doing that. And I'll share links to some real world browser extensions I've worked on. But I can click on this button and then I end up going to open source. So uh, this is functionality that a browser extension has given this page now. And you can decide what pages these run on. So um, I like to go with the principle of least privilege for when you're building these things because people are going to install something. So, like, imagine I install a browser extension and it says, I don't know, the Nikki Tico browser extension wants to, allow read write access on every website. You're gonna be like, whoa, I don't know about that. You know, in this particular case, like open source, I obviously work there, so I know what it is. But like, it's related to open source. It's got a lot of stuff going on with GitHub. So like, if I were to install this extension and say like, oh, this extension will work on GitHub.com, I'd be like, okay, that's a little better than saying this is going to run on every site. Even if it doesn't affect those sites, it shouldn't have access to all that stuff. So that's just one thing I wanted to mention. And if we come back to here, so we talked about the manifest and the content scripts, and we will get to code and stuff in a bit. The other part is service workers. So if you think about a password manager, because I think this is a good example to convey this, you have the UI where you have that button like I want to log into my password manager or I want to get like my password and my username so I can log into GitHub, for example. You don't want the browser extension to actually have an entire list of your passwords like as part of the current web page. So what you do is you use messaging, and this is where the service workers come into place. They used to be called background scripts if you've done browser extension work before. But essentially, you can do message passing. So from the front end, so where there's that button that said, open one password, you click on that, and then that's going to send a message that the service worker is going to listen to, and it's going to say like, oh, okay, this person wants to log in, do whatever the login flow is, and then once you're logged in, that button changes to like, pick your list of usernames and passwords. And then what happens is you're gonna get that list. So like my handle's Nikki T online pretty much everywhere. So I'm gonna see it in GitHub. So like uh if we do that, then it's not going to have the password right away because again we don't want passwords like in the web page because this is client side code at this point. So what the service worker does is like uh, and I'm just guessing the flow for one password here, but it's probably similar to stuff I worked on before. Basically I'm going to say, okay, I picked Nikki T online, that's the login I want to use. It's going to fill in the username field, and then it's going to go and send a message to say, go get me the password for Nikki T online because he's already logged in now to one password. Send it back to me in a message, and then that fills up the password field. And so basically, it was called background scripts before, and I think that name's more appropriate because think of it as like the back end of the browser extension. It doesn't have access to the DOM, the document object model, so like the stuff the content scripts does. All it can do is say like, I got a message, I'm gonna send back a message, or maybe it sends a message and then the content scripts are listening to it. Oh, the back end sent me something. So this is just something important to understand because again, the content scripts are literally what's the front end of the browser extension, which extends that, hence the name extension, it's extending your current web page. So it's extending the front end of your website. And to get stuff that's in the back end of the extension, you send messages back to the service workers. So that's essentially the flow. And the other thing to note is you don't have to necessarily have a service worker or the background scripts. Maybe your browser extension just does front end stuff. It really depends on what you're building. And so I can give you some examples here. So let's go to one I made. This is not like a super popular browser extension or anything, but I made this browser extension for Twitter before. I think they've added this since, but basically, if you didn't add alternate text to a image in a tweet you were going to send, or what I don't know what they're called now, just posts on X. I don't know what they're called, Zeets or, anyways. Um, so basically, this would go like, all right, somebody added an image, and then I would go and you go to press like post, and then basically I override what the post button does, and I go and I do some checks first, and we can and this particular browser extension, all it's doing is front end stuff, and there's not much to it. Like I'm gonna open up the source code here, and it's literally just a JavaScript that runs. And I'm just gonna kind of explain a bit here. So um, let's see here. Let's go into the middle and let's zoom in a bit more. I haven't looked at this code in a while, but basically, this is kind of like so this is loading in a content script. So this is only front end stuff. So I'm basically adding for folks who haven't been in like just raw JavaScript in a while. So I'm adding an event listener. So this is kind of like a on mouse down if you're familiar with React. And I'm basically saying on the mouse down, I'm going to get the target. So the target is the element where this event is occurring, which is the button. And then I say go find the tweet button. And that's because basically, if you've ever looked at the source code of Twitter, it's like lots of divs, and I think they're using React Native maybe for the front and the web version. I'm not sure. But anyways, I'm basically going to find the button, which is the actual button that's doing the post, because like we're adding this mouse down event on the whole body of the page. So it's like I could click here, here, here. So when I click, it goes, oh, did I find the button? So if I do find the button, that's the actual post button. And there's logic that tells me what that button is in that this function here. Like where is it? Find tweet button. Let's go here. So all right. So basically, I'm just this is stuff I found by digging into the HTML, the source code, stuff that doesn't change usually in Twitter. If it did, though, you would have to update your browser extension potentially, which is one of the caveats of when websites change and a browser extension is used on it. That's a whole other topic. But anyways, I find the button potentially, and then once I found it, I call this Ali event check. So if we come here, the way I built this browser extension is it's nothing complicated. I don't want to badger the person, so I'm only going to ask them once instead of literally every time they press the post button. And then I just go and find, if I open this here a little bigger, this selector in the browser is just going to find any attachments to a tweet. And I've discovered this. These are using it's data dash test ID because they do end to end testing probably with Cypress or Playwright, and this is how they are able to detect that there's attachments. I'm assuming. Then I just have some logic to basically figure out. Okay, they've got an image in this blog post. Sorry, in this tweet, and it appear if it's missing alt text, then I'm gonna let them know. You can definitely try this out if you want to. You can just grab this code; it's open source. But basically, uh, if they do need to add, then I basically prompt them once only to say, "Do you want to add alternate text?" If they say yes, it opens up the dialog to add the alternate text. Anyways, that's just a small example of a real world example. I'm gonna drop a few in the chat here, just because these are all. The reason why I'm selecting these particular ones is because they're ones I've actually worked on. Okay, that's here. Let's go back to the home page of this. Okay, so I'll go ahead and share these, and there's that one, which I didn't mean to drop with the main, but that's fine. This is the open source one that I was talking about before. Feel free to check out that one too. Just so you can get a feel for how a browser extension works. And this one is one of my favorite browser extensions, which I had the privilege to work on. It's called Refine, Refine GitHub. And uh, long story short, basically I converted this project to TypeScript. So I wasn't doing TypeScript at one of my jobs at one point, in between two other jobs that were using TypeScript. So I just kind of kept my skills fresh doing that. But this is a very not I'm not going to say complicated, but this project basically extends GitHub with a lot of features, and it's so good, to be honest, because half of the time I can't tell if it's a refined GitHub feature or if it's an actual GitHub feature. So anyways, if you use GitHub, I strongly recommend using this extension. And again, these are real world examples. You can see this, they build for Safari. I never worked on that, but like you could see how they build for Safari and other browsers. Okay, that's enough chit chat. Let's kind of get down to business. So yeah, so basically we've done all that. Just going through what the pieces are, and here's kind of the tools we'll be using. This is just my work. We have these workspaces, and I just house stuff in here so that if people want to see what we've got to work with, you can check that out. No pressure to sign up, but if you do go feel like it, appreciate it, but no biggie. So there's a bunch of tools we're going to work with here. So the first one is called Chrome extension tools from the CRXJS uh, organization, and this is the way I would recommend anybody building a brand new browser extension. This is good for Chromium and Firefox. I'm not sure about Safari. I mean, I think you can still build it out, but like the whole like flow for like hot reloading and stuff, I don't know if that works there. Um, the Chrome extension tools uses VTest under the hood, and sorry, uses Vite under the hood. Um, we might not get to it today. This will probably be in a follow up live stream, but we'll look into testing. So, and with that, I'm probably going to go with Vtest, and you can actually end to end test a browser extension. You can actually load a browser extension into Playwright to test the browser extension to see how it behaves on an actual website, which is pretty cool. I gave a talk about that earlier this year, but I haven't done a ton with that. But I just found it interesting. And for this particular browser extension, we're going to scaffold out today. Like I said, we'll use the Chrome extension tools project, and we're going to use React. And that's the other thing to mention. So like prior to like, it's a great time to be a web developer right now. So many awesome tools. Some people say it's too complex, but I think it's just a great time with a lot of tools to create really great experiences. And the neat thing about this Chrome extensions tools project is, and you could do this before, like you could build a browser extension with React or Vite or whatever, or whatever tools you wanted to. But this is kind of an opinionated way. Vite is pretty much everywhere, so like you get the same kind of DX that you're used to probably if you're working with a web framework. So uh, that's what I would recommend. I'm gonna go with React today just because I'm sort of familiar with Vue, but you can also do Solid. There's like a bunch here. I'm just gonna Solid could be interesting to use. I'm just gonna stick with what I know just for the purposes of the live stream, but But all that to say is you can definitely use any kind. So like, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this project in the chat, and let's go put that on the jumbotron. Cool. So yeah, definitely check that out, and I'll just zoom in here. And Um, basically, with the CRXJS project, you can they have templates for React, Solid, plain JavaScript, or Vue. It's open source, so if your favorite framework isn't there, you could always start an issue or a discussion, and who knows, maybe that'll get added there too. And this kind of just talks a bit why to use CRXJS, and it's basically uh, like it kind of says here, it's just people expect, polished DX these days, and like whether it was create React app or Vite to start making a web app. But for browser extensions, it's really not the same. Like uh, that that A11Y Twitter one I created, it was only one script, so I didn't bother using something like CRXJS. But prior to something like CRXJS, and there's like some other projects, like you can use Parcel as well. Um, but prior to all of that, it was like you were basically like there was an HTML file, a JavaScript file, so like you couldn't even use TypeScript. But now that all those tools exist, uh, you could do that yourself. But like something like CRXJS allows you to write TypeScript. It'll bundle the browser extension. So there's a lot of things you get out of the box. And one of the things it's saying here is um, CRXJS parses the manifest.json. The manifest is what I was mentioning at the beginning there. That just shows, like this is the version and the name of the browser extension. These are the things it uses. These are the permissions, etc. So, so that's where you should define everything. And you can even it's been a minute, but I'm pretty sure you can just define like your TypeScript file in there, and then it generates a manifest that's JS files because like TypeScript doesn't run in the browser. So, anyways, let's get started here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the React template. I'm just gonna move this over here, and we'll actually do some coding now. Just doing a time check. We're at 1:30. I'm good to go for like another hour or so until 2:30 my time. If anybody has questions in the chat, just feel free. Uh, cool. Uh, cool. Um, one sec. Okay, somebody's asking about something in Slack. There's an issue about that. Cool. I just got to respond to this real quick. uh, clear your. What is it? There's just an issue he's talking about. You need to clear your local storage or the whole app data, and it'll be good again. Just in a live stream, I'll link to the issue later. Cool. All right. Busy, busy, busy. All right. Cool. Sorry about that. Cool, cool, cool. Love live streaming, but work is important too. Okay, so let's get started here. And I'm just going to go ahead and take this off the Jumbotron, or you know what, we can leave it there for a bit actually, because in case people join later, that's the starting point for everything for today. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just run npm vite. I'm just going to follow the instructions verbatim. I'm not sure why it's version 2.9.4, but um, cool. Okay, it's saying, okay. So let's give it a name. We'll just call it, I don't know, CFE extension. And we're going to go ahead. Okay, I think the instructions changed. So, okay, I'm going to go with React. We could do Preact too. Preact's lighter. Preact would probably fit better than React. I'm a big fan of Preact, but I'm just gonna keep things simple right now. Not that those things aren't simple, but just just so I can stay on the path here. Okay, we can go ahead and use TypeScript. All right, so it's scaffold the project. So let's go to CFE extension, and then we're gonna install and just give that a second. Okay, that's done. I'll zoom in a bit more. Let me know if you're having any troubles seeing the screen here. Okay, and then let's do nr, that's npm run for me, dev. Okay, so this is gonna start a local website. So like, let's just go back down here and yeah, I think these instructions might be out of date. So let's stop for a second here. Let's go to code and we're just gonna open up the project in VS Code now. Okay, so let's just make sure here. Yeah, so you can see here, it's already configured things. I think this is just out of date, maybe. And okay, so if that's open source, if somebody wants to update that, go for it. Okay, so, and let's go ahead and look at the manifest here. Why do I not see the manifest? Oh, I got to create it. Oh, okay, okay, yeah. No, maybe I still need to do stuff. Sorry. I'm just not reading properly. Okay, so we've got that. So let's go ahead. Okay, so we're adding the manifest. Doesn't exist yet. And let's copy this. And the manifest should be in the root of the project. So let's do code manifest.json. Cool. Let's save that and we'll just call this uh, certified fresh events extension. Okay, we'll say it's version 1. There's this index.html. This is a pop-up. This is something that browser extensions can do. All right, let's see here. Okay, we've got that done. All right, let me just restart TypeScript server. Let's see, that should fix those references. No, really? Did I miss a step? Oh, wait, v3. No, no, I'll just stay on this regular v. Okay, do we have that in the package JSON? Let's see. What does it say in beta here? Okay, no, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, okay, cool. So let's go and install this. I'm surprised it didn't say to install that. Oh, it did. I missed a step. Sorry. It's Friday. Cool. Let's go ahead and run that. Okay, that's cool. And if we come back to the Vite config, that's resolved. And then the manifest next to the Vite config, it should be, yeah, that's right. Cannot find module. Okay, it's definitely there. All right, let's keep moving along here. And then let's do npm run dev. So nr npm run dev. All right, and we're gonna see some things here. It will have created this dist folder. This is the build folder. So you're gonna see here, the manifest is probably gonna look the same right now. But you see it's added some other stuff, service worker type module. If we go to the regular module, that's not, so manifest, it's not in there. So basically the build is adding these things and it's adding this service worker loader. We've got this thing here for the index. This React refresh is just for HMR, hot module reloading. There's some node modules and some assets. These are the content scripts we were kind of talking about. Um, but this is the build folder. That's actually what'll get used to ship a browser extension. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is, okay, so this is great. Like if you've worked with tools like Vite or like Webpack or whatever, you can like I could go to this website right now. It's gonna load up and then you're gonna see this is just a React site. That's not the browser extension. and I just closed it. Hold on a sec. Da-da-da-da-da. Cool. Um, so we actually need to be able to run the browser extension in development mode on your browser. So let's just go ahead here and I'll put this side by side here. So I might have this already set up, but let's do a split. Okay, and then Chrome extensions. Okay, let's zoom this in. Okay, so we're working in a Chromium-based browser right now. So you might be using Chrome or like Edge or whatever. The Firefox story for now is typically I'm building these in a Chromium-based browser, and then we test it later in Firefox. CRXJS, like the development cycle, doesn't really work well in Firefox unless that. I know there's a PR about this for hot module reloading, but I don't know uh, if that's been merged yet or not. Okay, so I guess a couple things about extensions. So there's this special page in your browser, so you can go to Chrome // extensions, and you can see here's all the extensions I have installed, and uh, these are all like production ones. Like these are like not local development ones. But if I want to go ahead and load one, you have to have developer mode on here. So if I turn this off for a sec, you're going to see those buttons up top move away, disappear. I'm going to turn that back on. So this is super important. Okay. And I was mentioning to you about that build folder here, the dist. This is what you need to actually, that's the folder you need to choose when you want to load the extension. And so what we want to do is what's called load unpack, because when you ship a browser extension, it gets zipped up, or I'm pretty sure it's a zip file, their format. So we want to load it unpacked, meaning not compressed, to ship as a production one. So I'm going to click load unpacked here. I'm going to go to dev streams. What did I call it? Stream. What's the folder called? Uh, bu- 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 Let me stop this for a sec. Streams browser extension. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Streams browser extension. I went too deep here. Okay. So this is CFE extension is this folder here that you see in VS Code, but we want to open the dist one. And we're just going to go ahead and select that. Then all of a sudden, you're going to see this new browser extension called Certified Fresh Events. I'll zoom this in a bit more. Um, so, so there you have it. So now we have this browser extension loaded, and let's just kind of keep on moving along here. So we've installed the browser extension now. It's in my browser as an unpacked browser extension. So let's go ahead here and I'm in Arc, so it's a little different, but I'm gonna go ahead and okay, I can see here, I'm gonna pin it, but there's my certified fresh events. I unfortunately can't zoom my toolbar of my browser, but if I click on it, okay, it says if you see this message, it means the service worker has not loaded this page. Oh, it's because I stopped the dev server, maybe. Hold on a sec. Let's yeah, I think that's why. Let me start this again. Okay, let's refresh the page. Okay, okay, I'm not sure why that's doing that, but okay. So once you found the extension icon, right click and choose inspect pop-up window. So here, and then we can say, where is it? Maybe I should go into Chrome in case it's different. Let's do that. Okay, hold on a sec here, just so it'll be a little easier to follow along in their tutorial. Okay, and I'll just add another one here. Let's pop this open. Boom. Okay, let's close that. And we need the extensions. Okay. Where is it? There we go. Cool. Side by side. No, I want Chrome extensions, not Arc. Okay, there we go. Okay, I've got Google Docs offline. All right. So we just got to go through that process again real quick. So I'm going to put on developer mode, going to load unpacked and dev. Uh, yeah, I haven't actually built a browser extension using Arc for the development. So maybe there's something there that's not available. But anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that disk folder. I'm going to see the CFE extension loaded and get some details. And you can see some manifest information here. It says it's version 1, which is like we saw. And we can see there's no errors right now, which is good. And I think that's what happened in the other one. I'm pretty sure there's something to do with maybe you can't develop them in the Arc browser because there was an error button there. So this appears to have loaded properly. So let's go ahead and let's go to actually, yeah, there. Okay, extensions. Okay, I'm gonna pin it. So now I'm gonna click on it. Okay, the window is like super small, but it's loud. It's I can't. I don't think I can load this, zoom that in. But basically, it's the Veep page. I can click on it and I see the counter going up. Why is it so tidy? I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. Okay, so basically, you're set up for development at this point. Um, and this is the most important part. So let's go ahead here and let's keep moving on. So yeah, so I'm gonna open this again, and if I right click, okay, once you found the extension icon, right click and choose inspect pop-up window. I don't see inspect pop-up window, but I think it's just inspect. So this is the browser dev tools, and you can see in here, so this is actually the browser dev tools of the pop-up window, not the browser. So that's one thing to note. And this will actually, I'm actually glad I opened this because you'll be able to see the counter go up now. Where is it? Inspect. Okay, there we go. So you can see it says the count is 0. You're gonna see me click on the button and you can see that it's working. So the React app is working. We have a functional browser extension now. Obviously, obviously it's not doing a ton of stuff right now, but but we're up and running. Okay. And so and then it's talking about the hot module reloading magic here. And I'm just curious why the window is not big enough. So let's do this. Chrome extension, pop up window, skinny or size. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think okay. Yeah. I can just do the body. Yeah. Okay. So you know what? This might be a good example of the HMR in action. So that's open right now. Let me go to the dev tools and let's close the sidebar and let's go index.html. And this isn't using Tailwind or anything, but you could conceivably pull in Tailwind, basically your favorite stack of how you like to do web dev. So let's go ahead and let's go into index.html. And all right, let's go into CSS actually. Let's try and have some semblance of good practices. Okay. So that's that. The background. Okay. Maybe I'll edit that one, but there's another one. Okay, yeah. So body. Let's just say, just gonna pick an arbitrary width here, width 400 pixels, and let's do that. Okay, so there we go. So this was a great example. Like obviously I had that skitty window, but you can see this is the hot module reloading happening. And this is amazing because prior to something like this, you had to basically unload and reload the browser extension. It was very tedious. And so in terms of that whole DX, so this is really nice now. So now we have this pop-up window, and you know what? We could do stuff right in here. Like we could just say I don't know. Let's go to the HTML file. Or actually, we don't need to go into the HTML file. Sorry, let's go into the components. We're in a React app. What am I saying? Okay, so let's go here, and then I'm just gonna close the bottom so we get some real estate here. Okay, everybody should be able to see that. Okay, so who knows? Maybe let's for fun, since we called this the since I called it the CF Certified Fresh Events extension. Why don't we basically have this button where you can show upcoming stuff, maybe? So like they have an RSS feed, so we could maybe do that. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and let's just edit all this, and we don't need that. Let's see what else we got here. Header. Okay. Basically, at this point, we are building a browser extension, but you're just doing regular web dev at this point now. We're only focusing on the content scripts right now. So if I save this, you're going to see that empties out. So like, okay, I don't have prettier in action. So let's do this. I have the prettier browser, sorry, the prettier VS Code extension installed, but I do need a prettier config just to get it working. I'm just going to save that. There we go. Just so it's just a little easier to do these. Okay, so we've got that going now, and then like, who knows? Maybe we could say like H1 certified or upcoming certified fresh events. That's going to update, and I'm guessing the app header is using grid with centering. Let's look here. App header. Okay, flex column center. Yeah, okay. We don't need this. Is that it? Or it's this one? There we go. All right, cool. So we've got the header, and then who knows, like P here. Or you know what? We'll just do this. We'll say upcoming events, and then we'll just call this certified fresh events. Then here, like we can just basically say, yeah, UL event. Yeah, exactly. So okay, those are showing up as the text black. Is that it? I think so. Yeah, let's go ahead and finally unpin this, I think. I'm guessing the text is black. If we go into here, let's look for 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. No, there's no black. Okay. You know, we don't need this. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's way down there. Oh, okay. I see. It is black though. Let me undo that again. Okay. I see what's going on here. It's just basically our app header is doing a line item center. I don't display flex, blah, blah, blah. I don't think we need any of that in the header. Okay. Flex column. You know what? Yeah, we can just go text align center. There we go. And then why is it so tall though? Here, let's close this. App header height. Font size. Oh, min height. That's why. Okay. So now we got like certified fresh events here. Let's just do and it's out of scope is what I'd say, but like Tailwind would be fun in here. 8 pixels. Uh, cool. You know what? Let's do 4. Okay. Now we got our events there, and then there's just a bunch of CSS here that's changing some stuff here. We don't need these keyframes for the logo spin. You know what? I think I'm just gonna delete all that and just keep it simple. Okay, we don't need any of these right now, just so we don't have to worry about it. We can make it look nicer later. Okay, cool. We could give the body though. we go, let's just give some padding 8 pixels. Okay, so basically we've got the browser extension. So like here, can come here, and then we got this list here. So why don't we just go ahead and go get the CFE dot dev, not not this, not the Canadian Accounting Association, CFE dot dev. All right, and I think it's just RSS dot XML. Is that it? Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. And gonna do this on the client side, but here, let's create, we can put this into its own component. We can call this events feed and URL equals, because we want to have, uh, you know, pass in a prop. All right, cool. And let's just create a new component here. Events .tsx export const events feed equals boom. Yes, events will go there exactly, and then let's import that. And oh yeah, it's expecting. Oh, it didn't close it yet. Okay, cool. Wants that prop, so we can do that. We can say URL string, and then there we go. That should be good. What's it saying now? Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, it's props. So TypeScript. Okay, so there, that's all good now. Now let's look here, and you can see it's already done the hot reloading. And I'm gonna make the body of this a little bigger just so it's easier to see. The other thing you can do actually is, like, that particular page, you could actually just load it up in a browser window as well. But we'll keep doing it in here. So let's just make this, I don't know, we'll say 800, and we'll say min height, we'll say 800 px. There we go. Okay. I don't know why the scroll bars are on, but we'll just say overflow x hidden. Okay, not sure why. Anyways, doesn't matter. Okay, so this, just so it's a little easier to, can I zoom that one in? Okay, yeah. I still can't zoom this in. So anyways, uh, all right, so let's go ahead. We've got that feed here, and let's see here. What do I use for pulling in a feed again? We don't need this. I forget the name of the package. RSS feed package JS. Yeah, that sounds about right. No, I don't want to add RSS parser. That's what it is. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, and let's go ahead and install it. Going to stop the dev server sec, start it again so we get that. And then let's just look at an example here. Okay, and we don't need the logo here. State. Okay, let's focus on our events here right now. That's open. Okay, cool. Let's do this. Okay, so what we got here, we don't want to require it, so we want to import parser from RSS parser, and then we can say let new RSS parser show. Okay, and then this is where we get data, and that should be good. Cool, cool. All right, feed, and that's going to take the URL, and this will be URL. Hold on a sec here. It should be, we'll just make a hook for this, I guess. Yeah, let's do that. Um, we'll create a hook here. Const use RSS. Okay. Feed, set feed, sure. We don't need that. At this point, like I said, we're pretty much set up to build a browser. So I'm just having some fun. We're just gonna build something. 'Cause maybe this is even useful for CFE. Okay, and let's get rid of this. Cool. And we don't need this. Okay, so let's import use effect, URL. Okay, let feed, set feed. Feed is okay. So let's set the type here. All right. So this is just TypeScript stuff. So type of boom, say return type. This is just so I don't have to write the type. Uh, okay. Use state is, what's it saying? It's not assignable to blah 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 or null. There we go. So we've got our feed. Now, what's it saying here? So we get the feed. We don't need to do this async in here. We can just say parser.url dot then feed set feed there. What does it not like about this? Are you gonna type key string blah blah blah? Oh yeah. Sorry. This should be awaited. Okay, there we go. So that's just some type safety that has nothing to do with building the browser extension. So I'm going to say use RSS feed now. And then in here, I'm going to pass the URL. And then so we're going to get the feed back here, which is what that's returning. Perfect. Okay, so now we can do this. And then we can say the classic return UL. And then this is what I was expecting, something like this. Uh, okay, there, li. Okay, there. Feed out. Yeah, over here. Boom, boom. Uh, what did it not like there? Feed.items.map. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it without Copilot here because it's throwing me off. Okay, so that's good. And then we're gonna say map, and then item.title. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what this gives us. I see a tiny see a tiny window now, not sure why. Okay. Let's see here. Feed items that map item dot link. No, that shouldn't be that. That should be, yeah, link's fine, but then we'll say a href here, and that's gonna be item dot link, and then we're gonna make that so it's a hyperlink. Okay. Why is that screen all tidy now? Let's go look at the okay, that reloaded. Let's go ahead and look at localhost and see what it's giving us right now. Interesting. Did I miss something? Import upcoming events. Let's stop it and start it to see. Weird. Let me get rid of this. Okay, so it's my events component that's doing something funky. Return. Maybe it's failing. Okay, let's go ahead and debug this. Let's do this. Little trick here. Do open link and then debug here. And let's go ahead and why is it not loading? Interesting. Let's check the console actually. Put this over on the side and let's see what's going on with the extension. There's definitely an error. Okay. Um, parser.reset. This dot remove all listeners is not a function. Failed to reload. This could be okay. Interesting. Parser JS is giving an error. Okay, so let's just double check here. I'll just say return EO. Okay, it killed it. Oh yeah, yeah, the library died here. Okay, let's see here. Let's go back to the terminal. Okay, should say yo. Come on. Oh, I wonder if it's. Oh, I think I know what I did wrong. Nothing to do with browser extensions, but I don't think we need this here. And then let's pop this in here. Oops. Uh, let parser. Cool. I think that should be okay. We'll find out shortly. Got a blank screen of death again. Okay, let's try this again. Nothing. Okay. I think it's definitely the RSS feed failing for some reason. Console. Interesting. Why is this? Okay. Again, this has nothing to do with the browser extension development. This is just RSS parser. Consider adding an error boundary to your tree. Yeah. Okay. Maybe let's see. I don't know if I can I not use RSS parser client side? Okay. No new parser. Do this with it. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think RSS parser is just on the server side. Okay. Um, yeah, that could explain it. Okay. All right. Well, let's not worry about that then. Okay, for the web. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, we recommend using a bundler. Here, sorry. Let me zoom this in here. But also provide built-in blah blah blah. So okay, so we need to include that. Note some RS feeds can be loaded in the browser due to Core's security. Core's prox. Okay, so this is just saying to set it up differently. All right. Maybe I picked the wrong thing to to load up in the browser extension. So let's do something different, maybe. Let's see here. We'll just return. Let's see here. Wonder if I could use that in the background function. Might not be able to. Let's see here. Load RSS feed client side. I don't want an RSS reader. Yeah, how to fetch. Oh, good old Chris Coyer coming to the rescue, maybe. Let's go take a peek here. I just thought it would be fun to show like upcoming events, but okay, so he's just, he's just saying read the XML and then okay, yeah, that could be interesting. And then DOM parser, okay, it's a little more involved, but we could we could try it. When's this from? 2020. Okay, okay, we don't need to validate the feed. We've got the URL. Okay, so let's fetch it. And then yeah, XML. Okay, so let's mix this up. So let's come over here, and then we've got URL here. Okay, DOM parser, then data, and we'll say set feed data. That's gonna complain about the data because what's it gonna say? Key string blah blah is not assignable to property items. Yeah. Okay, let's for now, let's just say we'll ignore that TypeScript error and we're going to do this for each item. Let's just do a pre code and then let's do item. Let's just try that. Item should be just XML. All right, let's go ahead and see what this does. Still no dice. All right, cool. Okay, why? All right, let's add a breakpoint here. So let's go inspect and let's go Command P and let's go to, can I get to, oh yeah, I'm just gonna put a debugger in here and see. Okay, and then inspect. Okay, and can I reload that? No, it's not gonna reload it, I don't think. Um, or is it debugging? Can't tell. All right, well, you know what? Why don't we forget this particular thing for now and like let's just put in some actual links. So, okay, so let's put this back to li and a we got the feed, yeah, okay, URL. Let's just set something in here and I'll sort this out after the stream maybe. Okay, so let's just say set, and let's get rid of the parser because I think that's exploding as well. Okay, and then we're just gonna return, we don't even need the hook. That's the beauty of live streaming. Sometimes these things don't go as planned, but that's okay. So let's do const. Okay, that sounds good. And then title, and let's just put, I don't know, URL. Let's do date. Okay, and there we go. Set feed. You know what? We just really need a hard coded list actually. So let's just do that. Const feed. Ba, ba, ba. Generate random items in JS for a RSS feed. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's do that. And then we've got our feed there. And what did I do wrong? Yeah, would it help if I finish this item dot link? There we go. Now what's it not liking about the, oh yeah, feed dot item, sure. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right, now we should have something. All right, okay. Not as exciting, but anyways, the RSS feed didn't seem to work, I guess. But anyways, this is just like a small example. I encourage you to. I'll try and get the RSS feed working. We can look into the maybe the service worker to do that. But essentially, just to kind of recap, and it's unfortunate that we couldn't get the actual feed in there. But let's go back to. Did I close it? No. Okay, let's go right here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so let's recap. So we're using the CRXJS project. That's a pretty easy way to get scaffolded and getting up and running to create a browser extension. The other things to be mindful of is you need to, like we saw, you have to load up developer mode in your Chromium-based browser. There's also this in Firefox as well. I can't remember what it's called, but and then you got to load it unpacked, and the bundle that CRX JS generates, that this folder, that's the folder that you need to include to load up your browser extension. And then we didn't go all the way into like what you can do with the browser extension because of a limited time, but we went with the default pop-up window that they gave us with the template. And I was planning to load the RSS feed of certified fresh events as a fun thing to do. I'll probably follow up with that after the stream. Um, I'll pop that up on GitHub probably, and we'll follow up with another stream where we can test out the browser extension using Playwright. So we'll probably end up doing that next month. And then, yeah, just to mention, yeah, so we had the manifest that defines kind of like what's the name of the browser extension, the version, assets it uses, including icons, the content scripts like we touched on, links to the service workers. The service workers, we'll touch on that again in a sec, but the content scripts are really what is part of the front end. It becomes part of your web page. And in the example of like the password manager, like I was saying, you don't want to store your passwords and stuff in clear text on in the web page itself, or even if you had it encrypted somehow, it's still not a good idea to have them just sitting on the web page. So what you do is the content scripts can interact with a service worker through message passing, and that's where you can say like, okay, log me into 1Password. Okay, do something to start the whole login flow. Once I'm logged in, okay, I'm on this page with a login. Okay, show me the list of available usernames. Perfect. I picked one. Send a message. So you're like, go get the password, autofill it, and then submit, and then you're off to the races. So again, think of the service workers as the back end and the content scripts as like the front end. We didn't go into the toolbar actions or side panel, but basically those are the aspects of a browser extension that you can implement. Uh, the declarative net request, I haven't worked with that yet, but basically it allows you to, like it says, intercept, block, or modify network requests. So that could be interesting depending on what you're doing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging, and we'll see you in the next one.